where he went downstairs and he saw his daughter passed out, and she was like,
Mhm.
from that point on, the movie got interesting to me. Um,
Yeah.
and I felt like like when you when you were a kid or whenever, like you put sugar in like something and you don't stir it up, and then at the end all that sugar settles there, and that's like the best sip. I feel like that's what
Mhm.
happened with this movie. Like all this stuff was towards the end, right?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Film Frequency. I am one of your hosts, CEO Haize, and I'm joined by my brother, the prodigal one himself, JB. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, CEO Haize? What is going on, film family?
We are here to review an interesting movie. You should have left, but we'll get into that later because we got a few news items that I wanted to talk to you about first, bro. So, as we've been monitoring and staying on top of this, when theaters are reopening, partly because we want some new movies to fucking talk about. Like, but outside of just that, like we are movie people. We love film. We love going to the theater. And so Regal and AMC theaters have announced that when they do reopen, that mask will be a mandatory guideline. And what do you think about that?
So here's the thing. First of all, I agree with that, and people
Mm-hmm.
better start getting. If we have not said this in the past, people better start getting used to this. This is, I feel, going to be a norm for a while, and not just in movies, just in anything, restaurants,
That's
and
a
any
fact.
public area.
Yeah.
I think masks going to be a big thing. I mean, I live in Florida, and I'm not trying to get crazy political, but I live in Florida, and no one was kind of paying attention to that. And you see what's going on in the news now. We're like one of the highest, if not the highest, right now in cases coming out. So yeah, I have no problem with them, with the whole mask situation. It's needed, and we need to reopen, bro. And if it takes wearing masks for it to be so, then so be it.
Yeah, and I think people like because it came out like at the beginning of all this, the masks really don't protect you from getting COVID. It protects if
Giving,
somebody has it from giving. But the thing is that some of us could be non-symptomatics and be carriers and don't even know it. So when you look at a virus like this, it's been as aggressive as it has been. Um, I love that they're making it mandatory. Like for example, a couple of the restaurants here, the local restaurants, not like none of the chains, they've reopened their dining rooms, but while you're in the waiting area, because you're spaced out when you're eating, you can't have a mask on when you're eating, but when you're in the waiting area, you have to have a mask on.
right? Yeah,
So,
it's definitely
um,
needed, bro. Yeah.
yeah, 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 and I mean, as we get closer and closer to movies, the theaters reopening, they push Tenet back. They like, and it's funny because it came out too that Warner Brothers actually wanted to push Tenet back even further to make sure they can get as much box office as
Didn't I
possible.
tell you that might
But that just
happen?
shows you that shows you how the power of Christopher Nolan. He's made WB Warner Brothers so much money that he's like, no. He picked the date and they go off of like there's only so many directors who can have that power. So I
Absolutely.
mean, it's good. It's good that by the time movie theaters reopen and they kind of get their processes in place, we will have a blockbuster not too long after that with Tenet still coming to theaters, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. But we need to be as safe as we can be. So
Without throwing, obviously we never do anything scripted, so we go in all kind of different
mhm.
directions. But just real quick, not to get off topic, I just curious to hear your opinion. Is Christopher Nolan Mount Rushmore material, or is it too soon?
I think I think he has to, bro. When you almost can't say it's too soon.
Right.
When you look at the
So
Prestige,
much.
Inception, the Batman movies, what else did he do? Was Interstellar Christopher Nolan?
I'm 99% positive it was.
Yeah, even though I didn't care for Interstellar as much as I have some of his other movies, but Christopher Nolan is one of those directors that when he comes out with a film, it's an event. Like regardless if it like how good or the quality, and I mean more. He's had way more hits than misses for
Sure.
sure. But he definitely I think deserves to go on the Mount Rushmore. I mean, as of right now, um, who is? I mean, of course you still have the Scorseses and everything like that, but Christopher Nolan has to be probably the biggest director right now.
Yeah, I mean, when the how I know if someone's a good director is when you see a
Mhm.
film and you like, that's a Nolan movie. That's how you know
Exactly.
that you're good.
Exactly.
And he has his stamp, and like his ambiance and his atmosphere and type of movies are amazing. And you gave some great examples. So yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
He's
I
definitely
mean,
Mount Rushmore.
he has 11 movies that he's directed. And it's crazy because you kind of think of it as like it seemed like it would be more than that. So He had The Following, which wasn't a big hit, but Memento, Insomnia, Batman Begins, The Prestige, The Dark Knight, Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, Interstellar, Dunkirk, and Tenet. And when it releases, like,
Oh,
and
and he
all
did
of those
Dunkirk
movies,
too. I forgot that.
yeah, all of those movies are like Memento. It probably it didn't have it wasn't the biggest box office success like his other movies, but it has a cult like following.
Right, I was about to
you
say
can't deny.
it has a crazy cult like following, and if you're into psychological movies, this is your shit. This is like a top 10 movie for psychological thrillers.
For sure. Yeah, Christopher Nolan is definitely Mount Rushmore material, and I can't wait to see what he continues to do. Like, and it seems like, you know, he did the Batman thing, but all of his movies have such a different tone from other, like they have a Christopher Nolan tone, but different tone from anything else that's being made in Hollywood. You know, from the trailer, you know, a Christopher Nolan movie. So, I still really hope, like we talked about last time, that Tenet is a secret sequel to Inception, bro. That would make me go fucking batshit crazy.
It would,
bro.
but I don't think it is, but I would love for it to be.
Yeah, I would go on record to say I don't think that it is at all, but I just really hope. Because Christopher Nolan besides Batman movies, he doesn't do sequels.
Yeah, right. Outside of Outside of Batman, he hasn't done.
He doesn't do sequels. But let's move into the next bit of news that we have. This one, we are both scary movie fans, horror movie fans, and Scream has been was one of those movies that completely redefined the genre at the time that it came out. Scream 1 and 2 are classics to me. Scream 3 is cool. Scream 4 was kind of just is what it is, but they're officially doing Scream 5. Go ahead.
So, if by now you haven't seen these movies, too bad. Scream 3, remind me, the killer in Scream 3, who was that again?
That was Sydney's secret brother that her mother had and gave up for adoption.
And Scream 4, was that like, who's
that was her niece.
Yes. Okay. I always get 3 and 4 confused, but yeah, I mean, they were not the same as 1 and 2. 1 and 2 were, I would probably go on record saying 1 was probably the best one, which is usually the case in these type of things, but 1 and 2 were definitely good. 3 and 4, I'm happy they're coming out with another one. I was a huge fan of this franchise. The only disappointing thing, like you were telling me before we recorded, it's only going to have David Arquette, so I'm kind of going to miss Neve Campbell. She's the star of this, and Courtney Cox, I was fans of them, but we'll get David Arquette. God knows what he'll look like. He's always every movie he has some kind of different ailment. So we'll see what he has now.
Yeah, I think he came out and he said that he's the only returning star as far as he knows. Now, before, when this was originally announced, because they're already in pre-production on this movie. When it was originally announced, Neve Campbell was interviewed and she said she's had discussions on returning, but I guess those fell through or whatever. And I will say this, bro, honestly, because of like the last 2 Scream movies, Scream 3 and Scream 4, dealt heavily with Sydney's family, I think that this can be a breath of fresh air into the franchise that they're not dealing with Sydney anymore.
You know what I would love to friggin' see, but they would never in a million years do it. And I don't understand.
What's that?
I don't understand why people don't take a chance with movies sometimes. Mm-hmm. What if the killer, at the end, you find out, is Sydney?
Bro, you know what? Honestly, that would be great. And it would be a huge twist. And you know what? Is that because of everything she's been through, that story would feel earned to me, bro. Like when you look through it, like your boyfriend, like let's just go over everything that happened in the series. Your boyfriend, who you lost your virginity to, killed your mother, right? Killed your mother. Then in that sequel, you had another boyfriend who ended up not being the killer you thought he was. You didn't trust him. He died because you didn't trust him and you locked him out of something.
That first boyfriend's mom is the one who,
and that first boyfriend's mom exactly is the one who tried to kill you because your mom was sleeping with your mom was sleeping with her husband. Yeah, and then you found out your mom was an actress in Hollywood, had a brother, had another son before you that then came back to try to kill you. Like, and then your niece wanted to be famous like you, and so like it would make complete sense for her to finally snap and say, "Fuck these motherfuckers! I'm gonna start killing people."
Yeah.
So bro, that would be. And you know what? Because she said that she's had discussions and now it's kind of quieted down, just this whole movie, like if we're going through this whole Scream 5 movie and we're trying to figure out who in the cast is the killer and we haven't seen Sydney at all, and then when it's finally revealed it's Sydney, bro, that shit would blow people's minds.
Yeah, but I don't think they'll do, like, I feel like Hollywood, as much as
they're too protective.
Yes, bro. As much as they take chances with certain things, stuff like that, they're protected because in their head, they're thinking financially. well, we can't do this because what if we want to do a Scream 6 and bring her back and stuff like that? So,
bro, this is why you need to start writing films, bro, because that would be a great twist, man. I wouldn't mind seeing that one at all, man. But let's move into the next one that we got. Well, overall, bro, like, so do you think Wes Craven, I think, is returning to produce? He's not directing.
oh, you got me happy for
Are
a
you
second,
looking
bro.
forward? Are you looking forward to a new Scream movie?
I am. I need to see the cast and I need to see who's directing it. But if Wes Craven's here, David Arquette's here, it should at least be semi-watchable.
Does David Arquette die?
Depends who the killer is.
Oh, what if David Arquette is the opening kill?
Oh God, that would be so fucked up because he's like the one guy that never dies.
And then that would make sense. That would make sense. And then Sydney's the killer, so it opens up with David Arquette being murdered. See, we just cracked it. We just cracked the script, bro. We got
Hollywood. You need to hire the film bros.
That would be dope, though, man. Yeah.
Is there a release on
it's
that?
funny.
Release date?
No, there's been no release date. Of course, because we would probably have had a release date by now, but with COVID, they're doing pre-production on it. There's no solid release.
Probably late 2021 or early 2022, depending on how COVID goes.
Yeah, probably something like that. Bro, what's one of the, like, we talked about that. Are you really looking forward to this Candyman movie as much as I am?
No, let me tell you why. And
okay.
I'm looking forward to the movie, but not as much as you. And the reason why is because growing up, Candyman was never one of my guys. So I never really got into the franchise. I don't even think I've seen, there's been 3 movies, right?
Yeah, I haven't even seen the third one.
Yeah, I haven't seen the third one either, but it's never been one of the, like, my top 5 or whatever. So I never really got into it. It's equivalent to, like, if you told me, hey, another Leprechaun is coming up, for example. I never got into the franchise. Yes, I saw a couple of the movies and it was interesting and I'll watch it, but I never really got into the franchise.
That makes sense. Moving into our last topic for today, bro. Oh shit. That bad
That's that Candyman cut for your ass. Out.
Jesus, man, that shit just fucking felt like I just tried to swallow a goddamn
dick
pool ball. God damn. No. You fucking asshole. I fucking hate you.
It's been a long time, bro.
A long time since you sucked a dick? Is that what you're saying?
A long time since you had a deep throat.
Yeah, no. Not at all. Not at all. I don't even remember. What the fuck was the last topic for this damn news segment?
The last piece of news.
Yo, what I'm saying, what is the last piece of news? You completely threw off my fucking frame of reference there, you dickhead. Oh, Jesus. I don't even fucking remember what the hell it is. I'm gonna have to edit this shit out. What was the last news item, bro?
What the fuck? This is raw and uncut.
Like your dick.
No, I was circumcised. I had to think about that for a second.
Oh shit! Why didn't I write this shit down? I legit don't remember what the last topic was now, bro.
We went over 10.
Oh, so last topic that we have. Jamie Foxx is officially going to play Mike Tyson in a biopic, bro. What do you think about this, man?
I love it. I love Jamie Foxx. I feel like Jamie Foxx is underrated as fuck. By the way, you want to see if Jamie Foxx is a good actor? Go watch Ray. Go watch Just Mercy and get back to me. He's super underrated. He's already bulking up for this movie. I'm really. Here's my thing: who's writing the movie and who's directing the movie? Because that's gonna play into a big thing. Mike Tyson, as we all know, has had a crazy fucking life. So I'm interested to see if they're gonna say, are they talking about from like day one, when he was like 18 years old, or are they gonna talk about when after he retired? Or I know it's a biopic, but I'm curious to know what the timeline's gonna be. But I'm definitely interested. Mike Tyson, one of my favorite boxers of all time. Jamie Foxx, I know he can get the job done. So definitely excited. How about you?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to like when Mike Tyson, when Will Smith was cast to play Ali. Like I think this is going to be an awards movie because as we know, Mike Tyson is someone who wasn't he literate for the most part of his boxing career?
I believe so.
Yeah, so like for someone to come in and play a character and a man in real life who is so flawed and like so misunderstood too, like people, like he had this killer instinct in the ring, but for all intents and purposes, like the more that we learn about Mike Tyson after the fact, it's like he seems to be a really sensitive dude, like a really introspective and sensitive dude, and So I would love to be able to see. Of course, I was super young during Mike Tyson's height. I think even when he bit Evander Holyfield's ear, I think I was maybe like 9, if that.
Yeah, because I was pretty young too. I was probably like in
Yeah.
middle school, and I'm a couple years older than you.
Yeah. So, and the only thing that I think that people have pointed out is that Jamie Foxx is already 52 years old, right? Now he looks great.
Yeah.
He doesn't look that age at all. But if they're going to be telling Mike Tyson's like whole life, like when Will Smith played Ali, Will Smith was fairly what was he, in his 30s at that point? If even that,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, he was fairly
his
young.
late 20s. So he was still fairly young. Like Jamie Foxx is a 52-year-old man, but we've seen technology like with The Irishman, they can easily de-age him, and they wouldn't have to do as much as they did with Robert De Niro because Jamie Foxx still looks almost the same that he did 20 years ago. So what do you think about that aspect? Do you think he's too old to tell the whole story of Mike Tyson's life?
Well, the thing is, we don't know. First of all, we don't know if he's gonna play Mike Tyson in the entire movie. There may be a younger Tyson, and he's the Mike Tyson from like the Holyfield era and on, as like that mid-30s, going into late 30s, and they may have somebody else play the younger Tyson, or we don't. This movie may pick up. We don't know where this movie's gonna start off from. If it's gonna start from the beginning or not. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But it would have been really cool though if Michael B. Jordan never did Creed, because I think he would have been excellent in this role. You don't think so?
Bro, that would have been a great role for Michael B. Jordan, man. And I could see why they wouldn't even attempt to cast him in this because of
people
Creed.
are gonna talk shit.
You don't want to typecast. But another person that would have actually did a really good job in it too is the guy from Black Panther and Us.
I was just from Us?
Yeah, the dad from Us. He was also in Black Panther. Not Chadwick Boseman. He played M'Baku in Winston Duke is his name.
Winston Duke.
He was also in Spencer Confidential.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's ready for that type of character.
I mean, you're right. But it could have been something where he showed his acting chops in there.
True.
So we don't.
True. Could be a coming out party.
Like he definitely has the physicality.
Yes.
He's probably even a lot taller than Mike Tyson was too. So Jamie Foxx does fit that. When you think of somebody to play Mike Tyson and Jamie Foxx bulks up, he fits it perfectly.
Yeah, and I think Jamie Foxx is gonna give an award-winning performance. I mean, he won awards for when he did Ray. So I think definitely he's gonna win some awards here, and it's gonna be interesting to watch. I can't wait to see it. It's it's definitely gonna be interesting.
Definitely. Well, that is it for the news on this week's episode. We're going to take a brief break. You're gonna hear the trailer for You Should Have Left, and when we come back, we're going to review this movie that the trailer had me super excited for. Let's see if that followed through into the review. We'll be right back after. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we're here. We're now reviewing You Should Have Left, starring Kevin Bacon, Amanda Seyfried. It was directed by David Cope, I think is how you pronounce his name. He is also the director of Stir of Echoes and Secret Window. He's actually done a lot more stuff other than that. So he's reteaming with Kevin Bacon here. And bro, what I would tell you is that from that trailer of this movie, and then I also did some research on the book. The book was actually about a screenwriter going there. So it was very similar script to Secret Window. So I thought, we're going to get this mashup of Stir of Echoes and Secret Window, and it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. What did you think just about the trailer? We don't get into the movie yet. We don't want to give our thoughts on that away. But what did you think based off the trailer?
Immediately, I was hyped up. I think we talked about it. And we were like, "Yo, we got to review this movie," because the trailer was great. It looked I don't want to say necessarily 100% scary, but it looked interesting. I am not a huge fan of Kevin Bacon. So I was kind of iffy on that, but just the trailer, the looks, the cinematography, I was all in for this movie.
Yeah, definitely. This is another Blumhouse production, so you know that means the budget is like $4 or $5 million. It's usually Blumhouse for their their smaller movies. It's like $3 or $4 million is the budget. For their tentpole movies, it's still like only $7 million. Like they are so good with what they do for the budget on Blumhouse, and this is why they're able to do a lot of movies and stuff like this.
What was the budget here? Do you know?
The budget here was less than $4 million. That's all that I was. So it's fluctuated in what
you got to figure like probably half of that was payroll.
I mean, yeah. When you think about, there was 2 sets, right? It was the house for the most part, of course, outside of the house, which isn't a set. That's just outside. And then like when he went to the store in the town, like there really wasn't many different locations here. So it had to be most of that budget is probably for Amanda Seyfried and Kevin
Yeah,
Bacon.
plus the director, the director, he's
Oh yeah, the director
those
too.
three is the bulk of the salary right there.
Yeah, definitely. They probably got $1 million each out of this, so that left $1 million for the
Production
for the movie itself to be made. So bro, like the setup of this movie is this family moves into this house. All we get from the dad is, I think he's different from the book. He's actually not a screenwriter here. I believe he's just a former banker, right? Isn't that what they said in the movie?
I believe so. I know it's like in the original script or whatever. He's supposed to be a screenwriter, but I don't think he's a screenwriter at all.
Yeah, I believe I think I remember them saying he was a former banker. He comes here. The wife tells the kid that he went to court for something that he didn't do. He was found to be not guilty. They're kind of moving to try to get away from everything because people have assumed that he was actually guilty, and everything kind of unravels. This is a very slow movie, and that doesn't factor into my critique of the movie when we get to it, because Stir of Echoes was slow. Secret Window was fairly slow. Like, slow it can set tone. It can be really good, but I think ultimately what my problem is with this movie, bro, isn't the performances, because I think Kevin Bacon does a great job.
Agreed.
Amanda Seyfried doesn't do much at all. And the little girl, we talked about kid actors before. They're either terrible or they're good. And she was pretty good in this.
I agree. She was pretty good. And Kevin Bacon was also good. Amanda Seyfried, I think she did okay. She didn't have much to do. So what little she did, her facial expressions and whatever, I thought was okay. My main issue, are we going into issues now?
Yeah, and full spoiler warnings. So we don't script this out. We literally just talk about the movie if you're new to the Film Frequency podcast. So spoilers can come at any point from now on. So you have been warned. Go ahead, bro.
Exactly. My major issue is, well, okay, let me reverse. The movie, like you said, is slow burning. I don't think the movie, for me at least, picked up until there was about 40 minutes left in the movie.
I think it was like 20 minutes left in the movie when it picked up for me.
The point where he went downstairs and he saw his daughter passed out, and she was like, from that point on, the movie got interesting to me. And I felt like they when you when you were a kid or whenever, like, you put sugar in like something and you don't stir it up, and then at the end all that sugar settles there, and that's like the best sip. I feel like that's what happened with this movie. Like, all this stuff was towards the end, rather than kind of mixing up in between and giving us little nuggets in between. The first like 2/3 was garbage, and the last 1/3 was pretty good. If I'm talking about just the last third of the movie, I'd say it's a pretty okay movie. But the first 2/3 were horrible, just horrible to me.
And I think for me, I don't know if this is, and I try to always keep this in mind because I watch so many horror movies. I watch so many movies in general. Like, most of my time, I'm sitting there watching something.
This is not even a horror movie to me, by the way.
It's not. I think the psychological thriller is the best, is the better way to describe it. And even then, I don't really feel like it's too psychological. But I think something that could have fixed this earlier is if that old man, the old version of Kevin Bacon, showed up earlier in the movie. Because by the time he showed up, I'm like, that's Kevin Bacon. Like, are they trying to act like it's not? But also, there are a lot of giveaways in this movie. Once he started having those writings in his journal or whatever, my mind I thought that the daughter is going to die at the end of the movie, and it's the daughter trying to warn him to save him. So it got a little bit off. I wasn't 100% right on my correction, but I definitely thought it was going to be one of them in some type of supernatural way actually writing in that journal. What did you think when you saw it?
So what I was thinking too, and I'm usually good at like kind of solving these things, I immediately went to something like Shutter Island, where he ends up killing Amanda Seyfried, and that's him. I picked up the fact that that's probably him writing in the book, which it ended up being him writing the book. Like, he's warning himself. But I assumed that he would kill Amanda Seyfried at the end of the movie, which obviously he didn't, but something close to that. He, with his ex-wife and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's where I thought about that.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be one of them. I think that was pretty obvious early on, and then especially when you start getting in those threads of like him going through her tablet and then looking through the phone, and then once the daughter was like, "Well, mommy has 2 phones," it's like, okay, something's going to happen between those two. I'm glad that it didn't go, because that would have just made it so predictable if it would have went that way, because that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, so like once he kind of sends her away and he's like, "You need a day to yourself," it was like, okay, so where are they going to go with this? And that's when my brain was like, oh, it's going to be the daughter then. The daughter's going to die, and she was trying to warn him. So it I don't want to make it seem like this movie was terrible. The thing that I think that, it's a solid streaming on Netflix watch, but to pay anything for this extra to me, it's like, no. If this would have been a direct release to Netflix, it would have been like, okay, this is cool. But the fact that it's direct to streaming, $20, it's definitely not worth that, bro.
No, absolutely not. Was he taking any sort of medication in this film?
I don't remember him.
Because the way I would have probably went about it, I'm not saying it would have been the right way, but at least one of the theories that was going on in my head is that the wife was behind it, and the wife was trying to make him go crazy to let me take his money, let me take the kid, because I don't think that's her daughter, right?
I don't know. I think it is.
Oh, it is? Okay. Because I wasn't sure. Yeah. They didn't really say if it's her daughter or the first wife's daughter. Maybe it is her daughter, but let me get his money. Let me get the house. He's gone. I have my daughter. I have all the money. But maybe that might have been too predictable too, because it's the regular, the wife type of thing. But yeah. I don't know. Wasn't a big fan of this movie.
Yeah, I don't know if it was because the trailer really had me hyped. Yeah. and that's one thing I really try to get my expectations out the way for movies, because especially when it's just the trailer, because you can cut a great trailer out of almost any movie.
True.
If you get the right person to cut the trailer, you can make almost any movie look great based off the trailer. But I think once I found out that it was the same guy with Secret Window and Stir of Echoes, both movies that I love, him reteaming with Kevin Bacon, I had my hopes got even more. And then it being Blumhouse. Blumhouse does have misses. We talked about Fantasy Island, but then they immediately followed Fantasy Island up with The Invisible Man, which was one of the better Blumhouse movies. Yeah. So I really had high hopes for this. Now, the thing that kind of bothered me some is that, we get this whole revelation at the end that he didn't kill his wife necessarily. He just watched her die.
He didn't save her.
He didn't save her. And he talked about how he thought about all the years of pain and arguments and whatever, and he kind of just watched her as she drifted off and drowned. While that is terrible, I don't want to make it seem any less like it is terrible. That's a terrible thing to do, to just watch somebody die instead of just saying, I want a fucking divorce. I think it would have made it better if he would have drugged her and she would have died that way. Like, make him an actual creep, somebody that we want to see die. Or maybe it would have, in their mind, it would have ruined us enjoying him as a character.
No, I love that idea.
That level of creep. Like, why not just make him had killed her? Like,
and knowing what we know at the end, I think if they would have went that route, it would have been even better, because like when he says, "Oh, I let her drown," Amanda Seyfried looks at him like, "Oh my God," but okay, I understand. Yeah, he let her die. That's not good. But the reaction, I think, would have been better off, like, had he said, "I killed her."
Well, remember, the first thing he did say in there is, "I killed her." He did say, right. "I killed her,"
but then he explained,
and then she kind of reacted, and then he said, "Yeah, I watched her," and then she's still sitting there like in this thing, and it's like I said, I don't want to make that seem like it's not bad, because I think my reaction to make it, so you're cool with letting people die, and it's not that at all. But it's like I want to be actually shocked. Like, right, and then even the end, I feel like maybe because it's when it finally started ramping up. But even the end, it was so abrupt. Like, he sends them away. Keep in mind, it was daytime when he gave the daughter to the mom and was like, "You need to leave," and explained it. Then all of a sudden, he's in the house watching them walk off, and it's pitch black outside.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
And then he just fades away.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. And like, my top 3 favorite genres, obviously horror, war movies, and psychological thrillers. And I love psychological thrillers. What is the number one most important thing in a psychological thriller?
That you mind fuck us, right?
Correct.
The twist.
Yeah. To me, if there was a twist, I don't know if there was a twist, but if there is a twist, it wasn't mind fuck to me, or it was like, oh shit, that's crazy. We're like, people are gonna be talking about this for the next 2 weeks. No, I don't think anyone even. First of all, I don't even think people understand what the twist does, if there even was a twist, because I know I don't. And the ones that do understand it, they probably won't give a shit, because it wasn't high impact, like a Shutter Island or a even Memento or a million other great Sixth Sense, whatever. All these great psychological thrillers. This didn't have that impact like they did.
Yeah. And it went for I don't know if you remember it or not. There was that series A Haunting on Hill House,
yes,
right? On Netflix that we never reviewed.
Right. They're coming out with another one too.
Yeah, and it's
Bly Manor.
going to a whole new I can't wait to see that. But they went for an ending kind of like that. You remember how at the end the father's getting the kids out, and then it turns out he's actually the house is already taking him or whatever at the very end of that.
I never
Like
saw
I
the
feel
whole
like
thing.
that was. Oh, oh shit, my
No,
bad,
you
bro.
good.
But I feel like that's the way that they were trying to do this, but it wasn't earned. Like because there was nothing like when you really look at this movie, nobody died. Right? Nothing happened. It's a big I feel like most of this movie should have been the first act of a movie, and then what was the last act of this movie could have been stretched out to acts 2 and 3, and it would have made the ending better and feel better
But let
earned.
me ask you another question.
Mhm.
Let's take out the kid for a second. Let's say Amanda
Okay.
Seyfried or Kevin Bacon died. How would you have felt?
Like throughout the movie, like in the
Let's say
regular.
at the end of the movie
Because
they
Kevin
ended up
Bacon did.
dying at some point for whatever reason. They ended up dying.
Huh. I mean, depending on how, like in this story, it still wouldn't have done anything to better. I think if they would have had to make other changes also.
Right, that's my point. If one of these characters died, I wouldn't have given a fuck, and that's not a good thing because your main characters are supposed to, you're supposed to feel something for them. You know, whether either if you hate them or you love them, and in these cases, these weren't bad people, so you're supposed to be drawn to them and get, you know, garner sympathy. But if any one of these two would have died, I wouldn't have cared. I would have cared if the little girl died because I actually liked her and I thought she was cute and her acting is good and etc. So yes, her, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the you know, Bacon and Seyfried, I wouldn't have cared. They didn't, for me, they didn't connect with me. I'm not saying their performances are bad. I think this is one of the cases where the writing wasn't as strong as it should have been. Now, don't get me wrong. The look of the movie I thought was really nice. That house was beautiful. The look was nice, but the dialogue wasn't that great. The plot wasn't that great. The story wasn't that great. You know, the acting is what made me watch this movie from start to end. And I'm telling you right now, if we did not have to review this film, I would have probably cut it off in the first 30 minutes.
See, I guess for me, like I would honestly say, like it took in this movie. I think it's only like what, an hour and 50 minutes.
I think it's an hour and 33 minutes. Don't get me wrong. I would have came back and watched it like in pieces.
You just wouldn't have,
but not
I got you.
Sit through. No way.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it was. I just kept feeling like it was gonna get better. Like throughout the whole movie, I'm like, no, it's gonna get better.
Which it did.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And then once it did, it was such a short, like literally, like the last 20 minutes of this movie, I won't say were phenomenal, but they were really, really good.
Agreed.
It's just I wish that would have been carried out throughout better. Like, and this is one of those films, to your point, that the directing you can't point anything bad at. The cinematography you can't point anything bad at. The acting, for the most part, was really good. Amanda Seyfried was probably the weakest link in the acting standpoint. It's just the writing.
Right.
Like the writing is the only thing that held this movie back, and it sucks that because you had an actor in Kevin Bacon Kevin Bacon showed up to give the best performance he possibly could in this movie.
He did,
and he was just you could only do so much with bad writing.
Yeah, and I am so far from a Kevin Bacon fan, but I'm not gonna blame him at all. I think he did as much as he could with that plot and that dialogue. He did as much as he could. I think it's just that they could have went in so many different directions, but at the same time, this is also an issue when your film is inspired by a book because you can't stray too far off the book. So do you know, it goes back to the writing again. So, you know, but also someone approved this shit to go off the writing. But, you know, I mean, who do you blame? Do you blame the writer? Do you blame Blumhouse for picking up the project? I mean, who do you blame?
I mean, you have to blame the writer, and I don't know if this was like one of those things because it doesn't seem like it was ever set for a theatrical release. So this was probably always expected to go in streaming. So I honestly think they looked at it, they looked at the book, they looked at the cast that they had, and knowing Jason Blum of who he is, he was like, you know what? If this movie turns out better than what I think it's going to be, we can easily switch it to a theatrical release. But if it doesn't, it's going to be cool streaming. They're going to make money off of it. Of course, yeah, I mean, and Blumhouse, like the way that they do, I just, you know, they make money hand over fist at Blumhouse.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so crazy how they
and
do it.
I mean, the movie has had horrible reviews. I mean, I think the last time I checked on IMDb it was like 5.7. I'm not sure where Rotten Tomatoes is at.
Damn.
Yeah, but it's horrible, like horrible.
Damn. So I mean, we still got so the Blumhouse's release for the rest of the year. They have The Vigil coming out. which I don't know
Me
what that's
either.
about. I haven't seen any trailers or any buzz on it. But the big one, Halloween Kills, coming out October 16th, 2020 of this
Now, is
year,
that still
unless it
coming
gets
out
pushed back.
October 2020, or is it gonna be
As of
pushed
right
back?
now, they have not pushed this back at all. And and maybe that may play into the fact of, Halloween Ends, the sequel to this, they filmed them back to back, is already scheduled for 2021. So if they push this back any, then you're gonna have two Halloween movies in the same calendar year.
Or
So
they
I really
push that
think,
back?
yeah. So the only thing that's gonna happen is either Halloween Kills is going to take Halloween Ends date at the end of October
Right.
2021, and then we're not gonna get Halloween Ends until
Right.
2022. That's the only option here. So either they're gonna keep this October date, or it's gonna be pushed off to October
Or
2021.
release both of them shits on Halloween as a double feature.
Bro,
Too
people
much.
don't do double features anymore. Like the thing is that Halloween is such, like, it has to release around Halloween time. Like, you almost have to release a Halloween movie in October.
Right.
Otherwise, I could see them easily releasing them like 6 months between each other.
I
But
think it'd be kind of weird
yeah, could you imagine going to see a
in
Halloween
like
movie in
July.
March? Yeah, like, it's not gonna
Yeah.
happen, man. So I mean, Blumhouse is gonna make money. And I really think Halloween is their last tentpole movie of this year. So they're gonna do what they're gonna do. Overall, I will say though, um, this movie for me, I will say once it hits Netflix, watch it, but don't pay for this movie.
Right. I agree. Like, it's not. I would recommend. We're not. I know we're not going into ratings right now, but I would recommend watching it. Just because, why not? What else do you have to do? There's nothing else but to. I was about to curse. That got it. Oh well. Anyway, you can't hear me. But um um, there's nothing else better to do. So watch it, but don't pay $20 for it.
No, definitely, it's not $20 worthy. I think I'm trying to think how I want to explain this. Like, it's a cool movie to watch. I don't want to make it seem like it's horrible or like you'll complete. And I can see why some people like the rating. What is it at Rotten Tomatoes right now? It's at like 40-some%, right?
I believe I had checked it yesterday and it was at 44%. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it was 44% and 5 point something on IMDb.
And that seems perfectly fine to me, because I can see some people watching this and being like, you know what, this is honestly pretty good. But it's too much here for me. Let's get into the official ratings, bro. What do you got for this movie?
So I kind of went back and forth. If we were talking about the last 30 minutes of the movie, I'd probably rate it like a 7.5 out of 10. But because we're not doing that, we're rating the whole movie, it would drop significantly. I'm going to be generous here, and I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. And that's being generous.
That's fair. And for me, like you said, those last 20-30 minutes or so are really, really good. And that's what saves this to even get it anything above like a 3.
Yeah.
But I probably have to say a 5 is the right pick here. You know what, I honestly wouldn't mind seeing this better script being done on this movie, and it getting like a TV, like a 5-episode miniseries TV release.
I can actually see that. Yes, I can see that. And like, tell it in parts. You know, when they first moved here, the little, and like build it up.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just, yeah, they I feel like they knew where they wanted it to go, and then everything, the journey on how to get there, it's just kind of disappointing, man. But that's it for this week's episode. We gave our ratings, man. What's coming up next, man? What do we got coming up next? I don't even think we've talked about it.
We have not talked about it, but that's kind of how we are. I mean, do we even know what's coming up? But like, what's being released. I don't even know what's out there. I will say this. This is a foreign movie. My wife, like most people's wives, girlfriends, whatever, side pieces, whatever, she's a huge fan of 50 Shades. The whole 50 Shades series. And I don't know how she came across this, but apparently there was
365 D&I. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, and we watched it, I want to say 2 days ago, and it was actually not a bad of a movie. It was actually pretty good. I'm not gonna say it was like 10 out of 10 or anything, but it was definitely watchable. I liked it.
Yeah, I would say that movie, it got BDSM better than 50 Shades of Grey or whatever. But it was a cool little movie. I mean, it was like we're talking this time.
That's your hold on. That's your That's your review. It got BDSM right.
it got it better. Let me not say he got it right, but it got
better.
it better. He got it better. But it was cool. Like, and I think everything that we have to do, and it's gonna be so interesting, like how my mind switches back once we are back in theaters. Because right now I'm judging everything through the lens of we really don't have shit else to do, right? And that's why when like movies are disappointing now, you should know how bad they are because we don't have anything else being released. Exactly. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird time.
Yeah, we'll see what's coming up. If you guys have any retro reviews, I know we've talked about with the sequel coming out, doing the actual full review of Train to Busan, which is one of our favorite movies. So I wouldn't mind throwing that in there. Another retro. I wouldn't mind fucking doing some Karate Kid movies, honestly.
Bro, from the time you said that last, as a matter of fact, can't we just make it official? Can we just do Karate Kid next episode?
All right, next week's episode we will do Karate Kid. Matter of fact, fuck it, let's just make it a series. We'll do Karate Kids 1, 2, and 3 the next 3 weeks.
Yo, bro, I'm ready to record right now.
And then we'll do an over thing of because season 3 of Cobra Kai hasn't come out yet, right?
It has not come out yet. They didn't give a date because shit is all fucked up right now. So
all right, cool. So then we'll do the first 2 seasons of Cobra Kai. So our next 4 weeks, the next month, we got Karate Kid 1, Karate Kid 2, Karate Kid 3, and then we'll do Cobra Kai seasons 1 and 2. We've made it official.
Yo, justice for Johnny, baby.
Well, there you have it. That is it, JB. Go ahead and give them your social media so we can get the hell up out of here.
I can be reached on Twitter at the P1JB. That's at THEP1JB. Of course, I can be reached on Facebook, Javid Bashrula. And that's all from me.
All right, and you can follow me at CEO Haize. That's CEOHAIZE. You can follow us collectively at the Film Bros Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, the Film Frequency at gmail.com. And then lastly, join our Facebook discussion group, which is the Film Frequency on Facebook, where we discuss movies, TV, and everything in between. So that is it for this week. Go ahead, Joe.
What I was going to say was what we're going to do is we'll put something up on the Facebook group, and we're going to start asking everybody their favorite moments of the whole Karate Kid sequel, favorite, lines, et cetera, and throughout the series, we'll share some of that.
There you go. There you have it. So that's it for JB. I'm Haize, and we're out this bitch. Peace. Bro, the look of excitement on your face when we decided.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.